Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today into another day closer to death.
Oh, this is going to be good.
It is. It's that powerful personal essay by Steve Zimkowski.
Right, right.
And, I think sometimes just one person's story, it hits harder than like a whole bunch of research, right?
Right, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's like you get that like firsthand look at how like these big ideas about life and death and kindness actually play out
In a real person's life, yeah.
like in real life.
And what's really interesting about Steve's story
Yeah.
is how familiar it starts out, a big Catholic family,
Yeah.
all those like typical sibling rivalries, and then the nuns.
Oh, the nuns.
Those nuns.
We all remember them.
Yeah, you try to forget, but you just can't.
Uh-huh.
It's like a snapshot of a very specific time, a specific place.
Yeah.
But then you quickly realize that the lessons he's learned, well, they apply to everyone.
Oh, yeah. He talks about trying to keep up with his older brothers in sports.
Oh, yeah.
Like those first awkward crushes.
I remember those days.
Oh, it's so vivid. Like you're right there with him.
Yeah.
But then there's this other thing, this like undercurrent of him trying to fit in, like find his place in that big family and
Oh, yeah, and those nuns' watchful eyes.
the watchful eyes of those nuns.
Don't forget those.
Yeah.
With their, let's just say, firm approach to discipline.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely left a mark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of fascinating how Steve brings that up again later.
Oh, okay.
When he talks about being kind.
Okay.
He's comparing that strict upbringing he had with
Yeah.
this more, I guess, mature idea of compassion that he develops.
That's a really good point.
Like he kind of had to grow into it.
Yeah, it's not just about rules, right?
Right.
It's about like the why behind them.
Yeah, the motivation.
Like
thing.
motivation behind the rules. It
Right.
makes you think about all those early experiences, right?
Mhm.
Like even if it took a long time for them to really come out.
Yeah, maybe they planted a seed.
Yeah, like planted a seed.
Mm.
Okay, so let's talk about young Steve heading out into the world.
Right.
He decides to skip college, go straight to work, just like his parents.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sounds familiar, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of pressure to follow that path.
Like the pressure.
that
Yeah.
familiar path everyone takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like safety first,
Yeah, safety first.
but then there's that pull.
Yeah.
Like he's torn between things.
Yeah.
On one hand, he's got this steady job.
Mm-hmm.
He can support himself.
Right.
But then all his friends, they're off at college.
Like two different worlds.
Totally different world.
Two different worlds.
Yeah, freedom and exploration,
Mm-hmm. And responsibility.
versus, responsibility.
Trying to balance like those expectations from society
Mm-hmm.
with what he wants.
With what he wants, exactly. And of course,
Oh, life always throws a curveball.
yeah,
or
2, 3.
Right.
He tries college, right?
Gets caught up in the whole scene.
And the social scene, for sure.
But then money problems force him to drop out,
Oh, that's tough.
go back to work.
Yeah, a lot of young people go through that these days.
It's like a reality check for a lot of people, I think.
Definitely.
And it shows you that it's not always about making the, quote, right choice,
Mm-hmm.
but like dealing with what life throws at you,
Yeah, making the best of the situation.
making the best of the situation you're in.
And talking about those twists and turns,
Yeah.
Steve goes through a really tough breakup,
Oh,
a broken engagement.
It's a rough one.
Always is.
And you can like feel it in his writing,
Oh, yeah.
how much it hurt.
The emotional impact?
It's like another piece of his search for meaning
Absolutely, yeah.
and connection.
And connection.
And I think what's interesting here is how
Yeah.
Steve talks about these setbacks,
Okay.
even when he's disappointed.
Yeah.
He keeps going back to this phrase.
Oh, that phrase,
And still no one told me I was another day closer to death.
almost like a mantra.
Yeah. It is.
A way to stay grounded
Yeah.
when everything is kind of crazy.
It's not about being like morbid or anything, right?
Oh, no. No, not at all.
But using that knowledge, that awareness of death
Yeah.
to see everything.
To see things differently.
It makes you think, like, how did that way of looking at things
Mm.
affect his relationships?
Yeah, and his work.
His work, even his everyday choices.
It's like he's always remembering that time is precious.
Yeah,
And it's his to decide what he does with it.
exactly.
And that awareness, it really becomes clear when we get the next chapter.
Okay.
His career and his family.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we see that pull
Yeah.
between, duty
Uh-huh.
and wanting to be fulfilled
Right.
playing out in
Yeah.
a very real way.
So let's jump into that.
Okay.
Steve's working in a factory,
Right.
supporting his family,
Yeah, working hard.
even working 2 jobs at one point. You can see he's dedicated to
Mhm.
taking care of his loved ones.
Definitely.
But there's something else there, too.
Oh, what is it?
Like, he wants something more.
I see.
He's a hard worker,
Mm-hmm.
but is there something missing?
That's something we all think about
Yeah.
at some point, right?
Right.
You know, are we doing what we should do
Right.
or what we really want to do?
And for Steve, that question is playing out while his family life is happening.
Okay.
He gets married,
Mm-hmm.
has 2 daughters,
2 daughters.
but then goes through a divorce.
Life doesn't always go as planned,
It really doesn't.
even with the things that mean the most to us.
It's like he's always trying to figure out what society expects,
Yeah.
what it means to be a good provider, a good father.
A good partner.
But it's also about figuring out what matters to him
yeah.
personally.
His own values.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Ooh, tell me more.
He makes a huge change.
Okay.
He leaves the factory to work in healing,
Right.
massage therapy, hypnotism,
Wow.
Reiki, Tai Chi, Qigong.
It's like a whole new way of life.
It is, right.
That's amazing.
It's a bold move.
It is.
And it makes you wonder, what led him there?
Hmm?
Was it one specific thing? Or like a gradual realization?
Yeah.
And did those early experiences, the family, the nuns, the money problems,
Mm.
did they all play a role? There's so much to think about here.
There really is. And, you know, it's in this transition,
Yeah.
this decision to leave the familiar behind,
Yeah.
that we see who Steve really is.
Okay.
It shows the human spirit's
Mm-hmm.
ability to grow, to
Mm.
change, to keep searching for meaning,
Yeah.
even when things are uncertain.
And you know what I find so interesting?
What's that?
This career change seems drastic,
Yeah.
but it actually connects back to those core values we talked about.
Oh, okay.
Like his sense of duty,
Right.
his desire to connect with people,
Mm.
that search for something beyond just material things.
Yeah.
It's all still there.
It's like those values were always there
Yeah.
under the surface.
It's waiting to come out.
And now they're coming out in a totally different way.
You're absolutely right.
And this leads us to one of the most powerful themes in Steve's essay,
Okay.
the idea of kindness as a guiding principle.
Kindness.
And this is where Steve's thoughts become really universal.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just talking about himself anymore.
Oh, yeah.
He's challenging us
Mm.
to look at our priorities
Yeah.
and remember the power of human connection.
In a world that's becoming more and more divided,
Exactly. Exactly.
and it's by exploring kindness
Yeah.
that we really see the full impact of Steve's journey.
Okay.
He's not just telling his story. He's inviting us to think about our own lives,
Yeah.
our own choices, and
Mhm.
how much compassion we have.
Right.
Because the world needs more of that.
It really does.
Yeah.
So we've got Steve, this guy who went from the factory floor to helping people heal. It's quite a jump. And then he says this thing that really got to me.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
He says, "We've been blinded by those who would rather get rich and turn their backs on people who need help."
Wow, that's heavy.
It's like a punch in the gut, you
Yeah.
know?
I get it. And it's so powerful because he's talking about this after describing his own struggles to make ends meet, working hard to support his family.
Yeah.
It's not like he's judging, more like he's been there and seen it firsthand.
Right. Like he gets it.
He's lived it, and now he's pointing out this whole system that values wealth over caring for people.
It makes you think about all those messages we're bombarded with, you know?
Okay.
Like success equals money, bigger is always better.
That whole thing.
And then you have Steve, who's found happiness helping others, and he's like, hold on, there's something more important than all that.
It's really refreshing, actually.
And it's interesting how he ties this back to his Catholic upbringing, but takes it a step further.
Okay, how so?
It's like he's saying kindness is just part of being human. It goes beyond any religion.
It's universal.